It's time to taste the Acerglyn 2021.
Now, don't let the mostly empty bottle fool you. We did not drink this ahead of time. We just finished the racking and bottling of this, and this was the last bottle. So there's just a little bit there. Makes it very convenient to do the tasting with. No big deal. So this ended at 12%. Pretty respectable. We were thinking we were going to have to back sweeten. It ended at 1.002. So right away you go, ooh, that's going to be dry. Yeah, well, guess what? It wasn't as dry as we thought, so let's get into it. First thing we want to do is the card test.
Card test!
The card's getting harder and harder to pull out all the time. It gets stuck up under the shelf. Okay, so there you go. You can see the clarity on this, not 100% clear, okay? It's not horrible.
But it's not like a murky swamp.
No, it's really not at all. It's just got a little bit of a haze to it, and I think that will clear in time.
The color itself is pretty similar to what you'd expect a mead to look like.
Yep. What is a mead?
Yes, but I mean, the maple didn't change the color all that much. And I think that's because if you think about maple syrup, it's kind of mead colored anyway, so.
Yeah. On the smell, I get maple syrup, a little bit of honey, getting a little bit of the ethanol that I didn't get in the other video, but now that we're using the right kind of glasses to do this, I can get a little bit different aromas out of it. It's not unpleasant at all. It's actually quite pleasant for 4 weeks old.
I get a juicy fruit sensation.
Yeah, you said that last time.
And I'm getting a little bit of the floral notes.
You know what I get? You know that sweet, tangy smell? You described it in a recent video.
Of natural fermented?
Of natural fermented fruit sitting on the ground. That's what I actually smell here. Like if you were in an apple orchard or something like that and the fruit fell on the ground and it started fermenting, rotting, some people would say, but it's actually fermenting. I get a little bit of that smell.
Like our grape arbor in August?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. We spend a lot of time doing the aroma because that's half of your taste. So if it smells good, you're probably going to enjoy it more. And I'm actually salivating smelling this.
Yes. It's an interesting thing compared to our little mini taste that we took at the end of the finishing video because we weren't using the right style of glass. And this base of the glass is called a tulip shape, and as you can see, it's a tulip shape.
They're Glencairn glasses.
And so it helps focus the aromas
doing this
towards the top, and then when you swirl,
it makes a wind turbine.
Yeah,
it just swirls right up, goes right up your nostrils.
I'm getting some more aromas with this presentation than I was in the other. And I'm actually getting more of the youth now.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little harsher than I remember it just from, half an hour ago when we did the other video. But it's not bad. I get that fermented fruit smell. I'm also getting just a touch of like a spice. I want to say like allspice. It's not cinnamon. It's not anything. It's allspice. And it's not in there, but I'm getting a little bit of it. And a floral fruity thing.
Yeah, like orange blossom.
Yeah. Well, it is orange blossom honey.
There you go.
So there you go. I remember. But yeah, on the scent, this is actually really, really good for 4 weeks old. Now, something about that too. We know this is 4 weeks old. So when we do a tasting like this is based on it being 4 weeks old. If we judge this based on, this is aged in a fine wine and all that, it'd be a little bit different. Yeah. So if we seem a little bit overzealous, it's mostly because this is 4 weeks old and smells pretty darn good. I mean, that's the gist, okay? Is this drinkable now? I think so. Let's find out. Short sip time. What that means is you're going to acclimate your body to the flavors and the alcohol within this beverage. It is 12%. You want to do that. Just get it in and drink it down. My initial reaction is I get a little bit of sweetness from it. It tastes like honey and maple syrup combined. It really does. Just that little hint with a little bit of a white wine. I do get the tiniest hint of that bitterness at the back of the throat that I get from mead. There's a good mouth-filling feeling to it. It's got viscosity to it. I mean, everything about it tastes quite balanced. I think the tea was necessary. It might be slightly light on tannins, but it's not bad. There's enough acidity and brightness that it kind of balances out. It's for 4 weeks old. I'm actually really impressed.
Yeah.
Just keep smelling it.
Yeah, for a short sip, there was a lot going on there, which we found out in the finishing video. Again, I'm sorry I keep referring to it, but it was shocking, and so because we're fresh off that,
yeah,
it's not
literally
shocking
like half an hour ago
now. But I think if we waited just even a week and tasted this again, it would be like,
yeah,
wow, this is so good. How did that happen?
And now what we want to do, now that we've acclimated, is a long sip where you hold it in your mouth for a few seconds, really get to taste everything, and then we can describe what we're getting from it. I'm going to let you go first, but that did not disappoint.
The first thing that I'm getting actually is the texture. It has a viscosity to it that isn't cloying, but it's definitely there. It's coating, it's soothing, it's relieving. And then right from that tactile sensation, I go into sweetness. And because I know that this ended at 1.002, right? That sweetness just shocks me. It's like, why are you there? But you're there, and it's delightful, and it's wonderful. It's not like super hurt your jaw sweetness. It's just a nice, pleasant honey maple syrup sweetness. Something that you would expect to be in something that's primarily made of honey and maple syrup. Surprise! But then it goes into kind of a white wine motif. And Brian mentioned this before. Again,
in the other video.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it, just go watch it. We'll still be here.
And that's where you get the dryness, but it reads more of a white wine rather than this is dry.
Yeah.
Because it comes after the sweetness that you get initially. So I'm kind of confused chemically how that's occurring.
Yeah.
But it's really nice, so I'm not upset by it.
On the entrance, I definitely get the sweetness right away. A little bit of an orange citrus hit. I taste the maple syrup. Like, you know this is maple syrup, not just honey. I taste honey right after the maple syrup. And then there's almost like a little bit of a bitterness. And that's why I say, like, the tannins, it could use more, but I don't want to add more because I think that bitterness actually cut back a bit. Because otherwise, this would taste super sweet even at 2 points above neutral. The finish on this is long. Like, and on the exhale, I'm still getting that kind of a maple syrup, floral, fermented fruit kind of thing for a long time after finishing the sip. It's really incredible. The complexity and depth to this is shocking. I did not expect it at all. I mean, I didn't know what to expect really. Not had a lot of Acerglyns in my time, but I don't remember them being quite this complex. I'm not saying that this was better than the ones that I've had commercially or that kind of thing, but this was definitely more complex, had more going on, more, when we say complexity and depth of flavor, we actually mean like how many layers, how much of an onion is it, you know, or how much of an ogre is it? Essentially, it means, is it one note? Is there a chord? Is it multiple notes? And there's a difference between a chord and multiple notes. Multiple notes can be discordant, and then when they play together, it's a chord. Right now, this is in between a bunch of notes and a chord, and that you were kind of getting there. I think I was waiting for you to say it, where they haven't melded yet. It's kind of, you can taste different things and you can pick them out really easily. They work well enough together that it's not totally chaotic, but it's not fully melded and blended together and mellowed. I think with a few months and then the 1 year, this is going to be amazing. Like, this could be one of my top 5 favorites, very easily. And it's the driest thing I have made in a long time. But wow, at 4 weeks, it's actually drinkable now.
Yeah.
I would totally drink this now.
All right, so do we want to wait to talk about improvements till after we give our score, right?
Yeah, we want to talk about food pairings.
Okay, so food
first.
pairings. Let's jump right in.
This is white wine. Treat it like white wine.
Yeah.
I would cook with it. I would put it in sauces. I would drink it with foods like that.
Yeah.
Treat it like a white wine.
Yeah.
That's an easy way to say it.
I can see this being paired with the artichoke pasta recipe.
Yes, very easily. That we did that video. Yeah, that's on our other channel. This could go with any number of foods. I mean, anything, like I said, anything you'd have white wine with. But does it also go by itself? Absolutely. This stands up on its own. That's my preferred way to drink it, actually.
Yeah.
I would probably put only about 5 ounces into a glass and sip that over the course of a couple hours through an evening. It just has so many things going on. It's like an exploration with every sip. And the more I drink of this one, this is something I noticed in the last video, just taking more sips of it, I seem to find more, and anything slightly objectionable starts to fade a bit more. And it's not that I'm getting drunk,
right?
Because I've literally had, if I fill this glass, this much of it at 12%, that can't possibly have an intoxication effect yet.
I think it's similar to the effect that you have when you take your short sip, is that some of those harsher notes you become more acclimated to, and so other things can shine through that you may have not, you may have overlooked. Words.
But yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say on this one anymore. There's so many different notes to it. Everything from the citrusy note to the floral note to the fruity note, the maple syrup, which is just lovely. The smokiness of the maple syrup did not actually come through. I remember when we were making this, we used a maple syrup that tasted and smelled a little smoky. That doesn't seem to have come through.
If we didn't have the sweetness that we didn't expect, but was in there, then we were going to go ahead and back sweeten this with maple syrup, and that may have bumped up the smokiness. So if you were thinking about making this and you wanted to push the smokiness, that would be my suggestion. But you want to be careful because it may bump up the sweetness to
too much,
kind of a sickly level that may not be very palatable.
A note on sweetness levels: it's all to taste. Okay, we like it this way. Some people might want it drier. Some people might want it sweeter. And that's totally okay. You're allowed to have it however you like. That's the only real rule about making your own homebrew, is make it how you like it. As long as it's safe to do and others enjoy it, you enjoy it, and you like the process, you did it right, okay? For us, though, I try to keep the sweetness levels down as much as possible because there's just no reason to have more sugar in your system than you really need to. So if it's good this way, there's no reason to make it sweeter just for the sake of making it sweeter. So that's kind of the say on there. But we need to chill this.
We do.
Oh, we need to give a score first.
We need to give it numbers.
I am a natural blonde.
I am ready.
I have to think about it. Because I'm between a couple. There's a few ways to go about this. While I'm thinking, yes, I can do more than one thing at once. Let me go over our scoring system. It goes from 1 to 10, and we use half points. 1 means I would not drink this. It's possibly toxic, and I wouldn't even give it to my worst enemy. Okay? We're joking, but that's the gist. 5 means I would drink that. I would choose it over other things. It might not be my first choice, but I would totally drink it. Below 5 is probably like, do I want to drink that bad? Okay. 10 means it's the grand pinnacle of perfection. Couldn't dream of improving it in any way. There's nothing unpleasant. If you were to make this again, you would make it exactly the same. You would want it to come out exactly the same way. That's a 10, okay? It's a relatively hard score to achieve. We've given out a few. Not a lot, but a few. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 7. Ha! We died. All right,
So the reason why I gave it a 7, and I'm just going to go ahead because I'm used to going ahead because normally I score low, is that as much as I'm appreciating this, it's reminding me of a song, and I'm really irritated because I can't think of the song, and we're filming right now, so I can't go onto my phone and try to figure out what the song is called.
That's why she has her hands under the table so that she's not reaching for her phone. It's right there.
But I believe it's from the Phantom of the Opera, and because Brian's a fan of Phantom of the Opera, he probably will know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's a part in the song, and it's played on an organ, and they do note, 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 chord. And so it's very dark and mysterious. And
Actually, it's chord, no. But anyway.
I thought it was no, chord. Anyway.
It's the main theme song from Phantom of the Opera.
And so I feel like it's those notes and then that force code and that's chord. Force chord. Yes.
This is our first tasting of the day. No, we are not drunk.
Yeah. I'm a spaz and words are not my friend. Numbers are not my friend. I don't know what is my friend.
We don't actually get drunk anymore at all.
So I feel like this has so much potential because there's so much that I'm enjoying about it, but it's just not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Yes, I know it's very young, so aging might be the magic bullet that needs to occur, as is the way most of the time. But because we had such wonderful results with our beloved French oak, my mind immediately goes to, we can French oak this!
I was wondering about that too. I might take a French oak strip and drop it in one of the bottles, like split it in half and drop it in one of the bottles just to see. Couldn't hurt. I mean, it might be a nice thing to do. Maybe I actually will do that. Okay, I gave it a 7 because I start at 10 and go down. She tends to start at 0 and goes up. Probably 5 and goes up or down, depending.
I go 5 and go up and down.
I start at 10 and work backwards. And the first thing that got me was, this is young. I can still tell that it's young. It tastes good, and there's nothing truly unsettling or unpleasant about it or off-putting about it, but it's not all there, as she said. The notes just are kind of floating around. They're not really melded together. It's not a cohesive beverage yet. So to me, that just starts knocking points off left and right. And then that bitterness, it's a strong bitterness that I want that sweetness to carry through on the bitterness too, so that the flavors meld better. I think time will actually do that. I keep saying meld and mellow, but that's exactly what this needs.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it dropped down to a 7. I started looking at it and I said, okay, would I make this a 5? No, I would choose this over many things that we've made.
Even at this stage.
Yes, right now, I would choose this over several things that we have made. Is this a 6? Is it just a little bit better than those? No, I think it's significantly better than those. So that's when I went 7. But I started thinking, well, is this an 8? Not quite. Yeah. I don't think it's quite. I almost went 7.5, but I ended up going with 7 because I just felt like this has some room for improvement, and I think it's going to get there. I think this has huge potential to be in the 9 and higher after a year. But like I said a few minutes ago, we need to chill this and see if it changes anything. All right, so it's been chilled. It's sitting on our steel chillers, which we determined work better than the stone ones that we bought. They're bigger too, so I'm thinking that's probably why. But let this go for a few seconds. It's a overly hefty pour there, but it's okay. This is the only tasting we're doing today, I think. No, we have one more. We have one more. Anyway, I'll go first, just 'cause. I need to check that again for science. That got better.
I think it fixed it.
That little bit of roughness after the sweetness, now the sweetness carries through. It brought the maple syrup flavor out.
It kind of just blends it all together.
It took down that bitter note that was in the middle and made everything else just work.
It's like we're seeing into the future.
And I taste more maple syrup now. Definitely taste more maple flavor.
The only thing that it removed that makes me sad is it's not as viscous.
Yeah, it did seem to make it watery. Now, it's not watered down because there's no actual ice in there. It's just colder. But it did take away a little bit of the viscosity, the mouthfeel. I will say that. And that could be, like I was saying before, it has the acidity, but not the tannins. So without the tannins, the acidity was the thing that made it have a viscous feel in the mouth, and now that that's gone.
But when you were talking about it before, and you're talking about that weird bitterness in the middle, I was reading that as a tea taste.
Oh.
And so
you were getting the tannic.
So I thought it was fine on tannins.
And it possibly is. Maybe I'm mistaking the acids for tannins.
Sure. And the strange thing about drinking an alcoholic beverage is that your brain is just trying to fill in the blanks. It's a Gestalt theory thing where we got this and we got this, and then we gotta have to draw a line in between those two things.
I thought it was more like Schrodinger's cat. Is it really there, or is it not really there?
Well, yes, but Schrodinger's cat, you don't know what's going on until you open the box, where Gestalt, you fill in the blanks.
Oh. Okay.
It's okay.
You can tell which one of us went to college, right?
I didn't mean to get deep on you in here. But, so we are working with our brain, trying to decipher the notes that we're getting from this beverage, regardless of whether those things are actually in it or not. And this happens a lot if you drink whiskey, which we used to enjoy a lot.
Yeah, your brain fills it in.
All sorts of crazy things.
Band-Aids.
Yeah.
There's no Band-Aid in that.
Tires.
Yeah.
It's just weird. But...
And funny enough, we liked those things.
Yeah.
Still do, actually.
But
This tastes so much sweeter than it is.
the reason why we're trying this on ice is because temperature change in an alcoholic beverage can turn down or amplify certain notes. Same with adding water to an alcoholic beverage, because there's certain flavors that are water soluble. So normally our experience when we chill a beverage is that it turns off some of the more pleasant notes and boosts some of the more negative notes.
Not this time.
This time it took those separate notes and it just kind of blended them together, which is what we were both looking for.
It didn't make it perfect, don't get me wrong.
No. But
it improved it.
Yeah, and that is really exciting.
And that's the cool thing about this. Sometimes the cold will cover up things that you like. Sometimes it'll cover up things you don't like. It can make up for deficiencies in a brew, just like sweetness does. Temperature can have an effect that way.
It does seem across the board
less complex,
toned down. So
yeah, the flavor's not as strong.
It feels more like if you have an alcohol straight versus if you have an alcohol with like club soda added to it, where it just turns everything down.
I'm not noticing the ethanol as much either.
Yeah, no.
It definitely doesn't. I don't have that ethanol flavor anymore.
Yeah.
It's still really, really good. Due to the fact that it did take it down a bit, that changes my score slightly. But I have another score.
I do too.
1, 2, 3,
7.
7.5.
Now I kept mine at 7. Yes, I'm low. Haha, surprise, surprise. Because I really enjoyed that it smoothed everything out, but I didn't enjoy that it toned everything down. But my enjoyment of those and lack thereof of those two things evened it out and kept it at the 7 that I originally gave it.
I can see that. And, I was on the fence whether I changed my score or not. I think it slightly improved the experience of drinking it for me. And I looked at the overall experience. Like, do I like it better? Would I rather have it on ice than not? A little bit. Just a tiny bit more. I see all of your arguments, and I completely agree there.
Yep.
And there's just a little bit left. You may have it. But essentially, this is a really great beverage. We're looking forward to what this does in the future. And I really might take one of those French oak sticks and split it in half and drop one of them into one of the other bottles, because I think this would benefit from that French oak and be like unbelievable. And if we do that, you will see a tasting of it next to it. We're also going to be revisiting this one with a tasting of a maple wine that you have yet to see, but it's sitting right over there behind the camera.
It's not done yet.
It's ready to be racked today, I think, but it's not actually finished yet. So you'll see that in a couple of weeks. And then we're going to do a tasting head-to-head of maple wine versus Acerglyn, just to see what's the differences. How are they together? What makes one taste different than the other? We just thought that was kind of an interesting comparison. But anyway, see all these people over here? That is our VIP club. That is the Bejesus and Plaid level members. There's a lot more other members, and that forms a lovely community that we actually use a Facebook group for. And if you want more information, link in the description. If you like this video, though, look up. There's another one up there. You might like that one too.